domination in a can. Tastes like loser tears.
New Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Team Secret will win Game 5 here at ESL 1 Hamburg.
Step lively now. Your Admiral is on board.
To be brilliant is to defy convention and challenge expectations. So Intel will bring the processing power for when it's time to go brilliant. Frame rates that keep up with your reflexes. Brilliant. Fast clock speeds for when you're on the clock. Brilliant. It's what we do at Intel, powering you to master your potential. Will you rise? Intel. Unleash your brilliance.
Remember where it started. Your first experiences. The journey you traveled. The journey you love. Remember where it started. And imagine where it will go. Rise on.
It's grand final time. Watch it live. The Vodafone 5G ESL Mobile Open. Tune in on the 28th and 29th of September.
So this is it. This is where it all started. The great business of DHL.
You remember when we still use these?
We have all come a long way since then.
Hey, Effie, my little buddy. We got a special job for you. And this is only the beginning.
Life is made up by special moments that touch us. A touch of genius, an inspirational touch, and a touch of magic. Some touches are simply unique. Euronics, a human touch in a digital world.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
To be brilliant is to defy convention and challenge expectations. So Intel will bring the processing power for when it's time to go. Brilliant. Frame rates that keep up with your reflexes. Brilliant. Fast clock speeds for when you're on the clock. Brilliant. It's what we do at Intel, powering you to master your potential. Will you rise? Intel. Unleash your brilliance.
Remember where it started. Your first experiences. Remember where you came from. The journey you traveled. The journey you love. Remember where it started. And imagine where it will go. Rise on.
It's grand final time. Watch it live. The Vodafone 5G ESL Mobile Open. Tune in on the 28th and 29th of September.
This is game fuel. It's domination in a can. Tastes like loser tears.
New Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ESL 1 Hamburg 2019's qualifiers. We are back for the decider in the E region. That's right. One team here will be invited to Hamburg. I say invited. They would have earned their right to go to Hamburg between Winstrike and Viking. And please do not get confused in this best of 5. There is indeed a one game advantage, but it's not to Winstrike. That seems to be a mistype. Viking came through the upper bracket. Winstrike had to brawl their way through the lower. And we said about it yesterday when we closed off the stream. With the performance from Winstrike on day 2, this could go either way. And I'm Killer Pigeon, and joining me to help kind of funnel through this either wayness, this kind of chaotic experience, is in fact someone with chaos experience himself. It is, of course, T-Governor.
Radiant team pick.
Thank you. Hi. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I do have the experience with chaos. Not anymore.
We're not Pepe hands on that, though. You know, we're moving on to bigger and better things
it's
here
so beautiful.
in the remote
honestly,
broadcasts.
I'm just kind of excited to see this Winstrike team. Like, respect to Viking making it way through to the upper bracket, getting the the 1-0 advantage from making that journey. But this Winstrike team, after seeing them yesterday with the additions of the Hack and Afterlife, like they look like an exciting team. They now look like they could be that kind of additional CIS team, especially when with VP making their changes. Like VP might not be that strong. I don't know. You know, Winstrike, they've already shown that they could be quite strong. So yeah, this series will be pretty interesting.
5 seconds.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks around the region in general, right? Like, who's going to come out ahead? Could it be the likes of Na'Vi? Is the new Gambit really going to be able to strike up? And
I think now it's like you've got positive guys, Na'Vi, Gambit, VP, and then obviously Winstrike. Obviously, most of them have like, yeah, it's like last season, obviously it was VP, and then the rest of them were kind of battling out. But again, right now, there's the top spot is up for contention, so it's interesting.
And we're just getting a slight preview before the main meal, of course. You know, the DPC qualifiers start in a few days, and while there are teams that are going to be taking a break, it feels like CIS is the region that just keeps on going, right? Like, it's just non-stop. You know, you got big teams in EU, in NA, even in China saying, you know, we're probably going to take a break on this first one. EU especially actually is the biggest one. I think there's been like 3-4 teams already, high-profile ones that like, guys, we won't be bothering with the first major minor.
Yeah, I think it's just the it's kind of like the aftermath of TI. Like the build up to TI, or like what a lot of people don't realize is teams need to go boot camp and prepare for around like a month pre TI, either through online or going to a boot camp. And then obviously the at TI, which is normally like a 2-week experience. Especially when I was in China, like they've spent nearly, let's say, like a month and a half, maybe 2 months of their lives just competing for one tournament. So like the emotional side of like competing, losing, maybe even winning, it's like there's so much emotion that you don't need to go and put yourself through that again, like 2-3 weeks straight after TI, right? So taking a break, which is 2-3 months, allows you just to fully reset and make sure that you're prepared. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of teams did skip out on the first major.
But we're likely to see at least someone like Winstrike trying to go to, and you know, as you said, with the new iterations, they even got their names. Look, they're all Winstrike now. So maybe this is saying, yeah, guys, we're permanent, because
they're committed.
These guys, you know, this is now starting to look a bit like a pedigree roster. This is, like you said, probably I'd say right now, out of what we have known to us in the CIS region, this is probably the most likely team that could take the title away as CIS king. Maybe Na'Vi, the other one.
They're in Gambit right now.
In Gambit, not Na'Vi?
I think maybe Na'Vi, but I think right now, I think Gambit and this team like look like the most interesting just from the changes made. Of course, Na'Vi is still Na'Vi, but I just think that when you make some interesting changes, it just means like your potential is a lot higher.
Yeah, I mean, like they did make a peculiar change with the offlaner. I mean, it makes sense, you know, Virtus Pro player coming in, but that may have, like, you know, there's arguments there that there was a lot of synergy. So yeah, they're a question mark. Winstrike, you say top 2. Viking, however, seemed to have come out of left field, and you know, we said they had this kind of not, you know, it's not they didn't work hard, but they did have some kind of stomp picks, some snowball focused heroes, but they have looked really solid here.
Yeah, I think again, like Viking, they're like obviously players have been around quite a bit. Obviously, Chappie, Bone7, even like Mastermind's been around. It's like these players, I think they've built a team that can function around Chappie, and I think Chappie's a very good player. So potentially this team can take some games off good teams, like these teams in this tournament, for example. I mean, I don't know how good they are really, because I haven't seen too much of them. So I think again, this series is like it's the test of, has Winstrike got the changes needed to be a good team, or has Viking actually got like a good system in place where they could potentially become a respected team within this scene?
Yeah,
this tier. Sorry.
I mean, they're definitely off to a solid start in terms of draft, right? Like, while Winstrike have got heroes that we've seen a lot of, especially Void. You can see on the other side, Viking already given that Mirana setup with the Shadow Demon Mirana combo.
And also the save for the Void. Naturally, Void doesn't like playing against any heroes that have saves during Chrono, so like ODs, Shadow Demons, these type of heroes.
Oh, we're getting it again. We already know what this is going to be.
Nice.
There's no doubt in our minds.
He did play pretty well yesterday on the Tiny, so yeah, it's a solid pick. It's a kind of like a pseudo save against the SD Mirana, where you can toss the arrow target further back, just to like disconnect or disjoint their engagement. And yeah, you kind of need these like low cooldown initiators when you have this Void, because if you build a team around cooldowns and you have a Void, like you can't really make moves on the map. But when you have this Tiny, he kind of is like the connecting piece where he can make the moves whilst your carry's farming, and then eventually the Void will then come online, and then you'll have these kind of two initiators.
And Vikings lineup is definitely starting to look like the anti-Void lineup, right? Now with the addition of the Sand King as well. It used to be a popular combo to have Void and Sand King on the same team. Definitely looks like they're trying to make sure it's not a problem. Okay. This is a decent save and return for the issue of the arrow, right? With the press the attack.
Yeah, it's yeah, now they've got a pretty strong lane as well. Afterlife actually is a very good Legion player. It's one of like his I think one of his more known heroes as well. And yeah, it's a solid early game active hero where he's a very strong laner. You can go for multiple builds on the Legion. People assume that he'd be going for like a 3-1-1 build, like maxing overwhelming odds. But you can go for the max in your passive, so that you can actually just lane and be like a really dominant force. But again, Viking picking up the Meepo, they showed it yesterday, and yeah, it's just a Viking pick. I don't know how strong it can be. Where like if you look at Winstrike's draft, they've got quite a lot of AoE damage. So if they can kind of get past the kind of initial like kind of Blink Dagger reveal of Meepo, where he can be dominant on the map, I think Winstrike does have the answers to the Meepo. So
do you think that they try and mirror the Legion into the Meepo lane, whether it's mid or elsewhere? Because of course, with the overwhelming odds, you do pretty damn well against the Meepos.
Potentially, yes. I think right now it's most likely going to be the Meepo side lane, and they're going to have the Necro mid. So yeah, it'll be just conventional lanes of just Legion Tiny on the off lane, Void Jakiro top, and now they're just going to need to pick a hero that can potentially lane up against the Necro and provide another answer to the Meepo.
See what they want to do. Like I said, most likely the Necro. They could go for something like the Pugna, would be pretty good here, right? Against the Necro. And also punishes them.
Yes. Yeah, that could be okay. I was trying to think. I feel like Sniper could be alright, but then it's like
actually it's banned.
Alright, okay, no, okay, yeah.
Like him, we're on the same page. Like, no way we letting this happen.
I was like focusing on the far right hand of the screen, like Necro, and looking above, and then I'm like Sniper. I look across, like, no.
Anime music playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they just need a low cooldown hero. Like, okay. Yep. He works. So depending on the build the Shadow Fiend goes, he could either go for obviously the Greaves build, tank up a little bit, and it potentially mirrors what the type of items that the Necro buys, or he can go for the more explosive build where he can go for like the Blink Yules and just hope to be blowing up that kind of key hero at the start of every fight. So yeah, I think Winstrike, they have a lot of options right now in how they can optimize their skill builds and item builds to kind of face up against Viking.
We'll see if that can actually pay off. I mean, Shadow Fiend, this is the type of matchup where he fries, right? Because as a Necrophos, you want to get close enough that you're using your abilities not only to, heal and get CS, but also harass your opponent. Where Shadow Fiend thrives is these short-range spell heroes. Like an OD, for example, is another hero that tends to get roughed up because of the razors.
Yeah, like right now, this lane is just, I think it's going to be more of like a trader farm, where if there's more kill potential for the Shadow Fiend killing the Necro rather than it being the other way around. I can picture the Tiny rotating in, tossing the Necro back into a triple raise combo, and early on, when the Necro doesn't have like the bracer, the wand, and like kind of these additional little items to help make him tankier, he can be susceptible to these ganks. So yeah, this lane can either be a very simple trader farm, or it could be an absolute bloodbath in which Shadow Fiend and Tiny play together. So it'll be interesting to see what they prioritize.
I was going to say, we've seen Lil enable that mid lane before, but as I said, it can go both ways, because as you see, part of the component which could set up kills on the Shadow Fiend is here with the Shadow Demon Mirana. They could roam around in this game. They could be very active without staying static in the lane, basically.
No, exactly, and it really depends on how they start the lane. So right now, a very classic move is this smoke. The Shadow Demon Mirana, they're going to smoke up, potentially go for this First Blood, and if they obtain the First Blood and secure one more kill after bounty runes, then it means the Sand King should be able to lane by himself. At that point, then the supports are able to do whatever they want on the map.
So we have got a pause to begin with. I'm not seeing anything too out of the ordinary in terms of item builds either at the start of this. So There is a mango war going on. Who's winning the mango war?
Oh, I need to open up the score. Wait, show items. There you go.
Winstrike wins mango war by double the amount. Do you feel like Legion's one of the type of heroes you usually like to see starting with mangoes?
It depends on the build he goes. I feel right now, from his items, it looks like he's going to go for the Moment of Courage and Moment of Courage build, where he's just going to get as many points as he can in that and just going to sit in the lane. He's going to be able to skip waves, he's going to be able to trade potentially with the Meepo early levels. Like, if the issue with the overwhelming odds is like, it's a cute skill build, but like, if you're not getting these like kills and you're not really doing much in lane, then you don't have this like kind of like farming mechanism. Sure, like it does do like this damage, but like farming jungle, it doesn't help you. The Moment of Courage is the thing that helps you.
Yeah, it kind of like, it puts you in this constant aggression state where like the moment someone goes wrong and they start to fight back and you can't run at them anymore, you lose relevancy in any form.
Yeah, again, it's like overwhelming odds is like a lane pushing mechanism, but not a jungling enable. So he needs to decide what he wants to do in the game, but I still feel like he'll be going for Moment of Courage points.
Yeah, especially against melee heroes, because you know how it is. You've probably experienced this enough. You just run into the creep wave, you aggro it, and keep clicking them.
Yep.
Pretty absurd, especially with a hero that starts with 63 damage.
And there's also potential that, again, like I said, he might go for the overwhelming odds if the Tiny wants to play between top and bottom. If they're happy to let the Void play solo, then they might want to be very aggressive. They might want to play killing the Necro, then killing the Meepo, you know, just constantly forcing the TP, the supports top. Because that's the other thing in Dota. Right now, they've smoked bottom, but you already know that after the smoke and potentially one more kill after, one support will be moving to the top lane to try and enable this Meepo, like they did yesterday. Around 2 minutes 30, 2 minutes, they were then dual laning. If you then tri-lane top and or have your position 4 roaming between mid and top, and your 5's already top as well, it forces the other support to leave bot lane. So it allows you to have your carry in a 1v1 matchup. And most heroes that sit in the bot lane can't really deal with punishing. Luckily in this position, Viking does have the Sand King, so he will be able to actually kind of utilize this, but
and I guess
it's an interesting thought to have.
Well, the highlightable point, right, is what you mentioned with the Meepo. You know, ultimately you'd love to have this one-on-one scenario. They had that the other day where it wasn't that aggressive of an offlaner, so they got away with it. But this time around, we just mentioned Legion is this type of hero that will either go for the the Q build, where she'll run at you with overwhelming odds, or you can run at them solo with a Moment of Courage and the creep waves. And because he's a melee hero, until he gets to free, he can't even trade even remotely effectively.
Yeah, exactly that.
We know what's going on there.
I have no idea. Let me check.
Looks like it's just good luck, have funs, and pauses. They're entitled to their time.
I keep forgetting I have the option to mute everyone, all enemies. I'll turn that off. Now, why does that work in a lobby? That shouldn't be a thing.
I mean, technically, everyone who is not on the spectator team is our enemy.
I guess.
You do usually get some weird ones as well. Like, especially, I think it's like usually the Humao, like the Chinese casters, they tend to just randomly ping things so we can all see it like this.
Oh, everyone can see that.
Yes. Oh. Well, no, not the players, but all the other spectators and all the other channels.
Ah, I see.
It's a bit weird.
No, of course, yeah. But can they see like drawing on the map?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
I think they can see pings. I feel
like drawing on the map is underutilized in casting.
I think it's like, it's the awkward part is like, you have to have your camera guy looking at it, right? If you have an obs, it's not too bad.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if you have an obs, it's not too bad, but like you as an analyst have to be watching the obs and then watching your screen.
Yeah.
As a play-by-play, I can actually tell you, like, quite often I don't even join the lobbies if I have an obs. I just watch the obs' view. Very nice.
That's true. Oh.
As long as they're competent.
Anyway, that was a nice segue into this very peaceful, no eventful smoke.
Exactly. They didn't find anything, and this is the other thing, right? If you do force a try scenario, is it that bad for Winstrike? Because, Lil can save for the tosses, and Jakiro tends to love these kind of clumped up heroes for the AoEs.
I think it depends on how the lane starts. The Legion, if he wants to be cute, could easily go for a point and press the attack just to, secure the fact that the Shadow Demon's there, but I don't think they're going to need to be, that quirky. All they're going to do is, block up this wave, make sure that it pushes into them, and then it means that the second wave will be sitting just in front of their tier 1 tower top. and potentially, yeah, they might force out the tri lane. And I don't think Viking care too much, where their Sand King's just gonna be able to free farm. Sure, the hat's gonna hit creeps, but the trade-off is your tempo hero will have a good game, and that's what you want.
It does force,
and that's what Viking plays for.
I was gonna say, it does also force Bone to not focus on kills. He has to focus more on just trying to actually use his arrows maybe to control the creep wave, because that press the attack that will be coming into effect probably level 2. Meanwhile, Flash.
So they're just opting to go for
does this a
instead
lot.
of right now for Winstrike.
Flash is going to be a little bit frustrated about this. Like, he read it right. Someone was going to use the Corey, just read the wrong lane.
Nah, it's going top with an Uve.
Yeah.
Oof. That is some discipline. Actually, no, I guess Kuman is going for the bottle, so he isn't going to be getting it straight away. If he was shipping out the south, then sure, but when you have the mango build, I guess you're not so directly dependent on the south, especially when you're playing a range v range matchup where he's not really going to be clicking you too much.
Yeah, and I didn't quite catch whether he started with the Necromastery. That might have made more sense as well. Like, he knows he's not really going to burn through the mangoes too quick.
No, yeah, he went for the Shadow Rays level 1.
Yeah, that seems to like be the new shift amongst Shadow Fiends. I think Gambit was the first one I saw doing it regularly, and it just makes sense. Like, you can kind of try and be finicky about Necromastery at level 1, but you just don't have the damage to compete with, what, like 95% of heroes?
Yeah, the whole thing about mid lane is all about kind of getting the initial denies in CS, right? So I think for a Shadow Fiend, I can secure my 4 CS if I raise properly. But additionally, when I go for the range creep, 9 times out of 10, I should be raising the enemy mid as well, so it's just free damage.
Chappie's getting close to level 3. This is where he might be able to start dealing with Legion a bit. The problem you always run into is that you are attacking directly into a target with the props of your attacks with more people. Flash. He's already being punished pretty hard. He's burning for a lot of regen courtesy of Lil, and while I talk about that in the bot lane, about unexpected, but No Fear gets caught out away from the creep spell, looks of it, with the arrow.
It's the punishment of having a stun set up for the arrow. As soon as the support moves out of the lane, away from his carry, he will be susceptible to getting killed.
Kills in return, though, and they might get 2 here. Legion moving across. Lil has been setting these up nicely, and Chappie forced the level into the Earthbind. Lil did take a lot of damage, though. Although Flash may have just saved him for the final hit from the tower. So cute combos on each side. Like you said, the stun set up for the arrow, and as we keep seeing from Lil, he purposely tosses a target into the creep wave for the overwhelming odds.
Yeah, it's again, it's another cute play. They don't have any real kind of other damage outside of the kind of creep wave, so yeah, just understands the laning matchup.
I think the other nice thing for Legion in this scenario is because Mirana is playing exclusively around bot now, he doesn't have to go for like an early point press the attack, right? So he can go for this maybe a bit more greedy build with the overwhelming odds and the moment of courage.
Yeah, I feel like that scenario in which he levels the press attack is if they're doing like a tri-lane scenario where his supports are constantly getting arrowed and they're dying. Like, he needs to be like an enabler for his for the lane. When it's just his dual lane, he doesn't need to save anyone, because let's say he does get arrowed, press attack's not going to do anything for him. So yeah, I think again in this very specific scenario, he can just go 1 value point in it and then just max on the other 2 spells.
Oh, the bash! No Fear's going to live. Barely. Oh, is he? Bones like hell no. I want that kill. I hurt him a lot, but Shakiro's not having a fun time this game. What's that move to
it's
make?
Actually the most painful thing to do if you play against a Mirana. Like, Jakiro v Mirana is actually pretty okay for Jakiro, but you need to start with a Sage Mask and bind to the Bassi, so then you can match up Bassi with Bassi. Because of his build, it means he has less armor, obviously less attack speed, and he does struggle a little bit.
Yeah, it also feels like, you know, in this type of lane, you're seeing it already, that the sentries are down, but there's no real concern for Rajits, because if anything, so far, it's just baiting Winstrike into this kind of false sense of aggression. Like, they can actually make these plays each time. Stop. Someone might die here. Kulich, you might get Chappie for this. Chappie chose to continue that fight in the creep wave of all things, and while that happens, Tiny in the mid lane will go down, but in response, Kuman as well. The rotation from Viking on point.
Yeah, that was good. A mirror of rotation. Seeing the Tiny leaving top, both supports came mid. Also, it was actually like a very fundamental Dota move where it was just becoming nighttime. So you want the supports to move mid to set up your wards pre-night, so that when it gets to that first night, your mid is somewhat safe. But you can see Winstrike, they actually have utilized this, got the vision out. So sure, they did die, but they actually have potentially good vision to stop these ganks coming in the future.
I have to be careful about it now because Necro does have the ultimate online with the Scythe. This is kind of the concerning point. Chappy is continuing to face a little bit of aggression here, but it hasn't stopped him from doing fairly well on the CS chart. 24-3, 25-4 on the Legion. But the question is, does this really switch around at like level 6? Like Flash has to babysit Meepo at that point, right? Otherwise he gets dueled.
Yeah, there will be a point where this Legion is way too scary. He is also like level 5 compared to level 4 on Meepo, so... And it's just the work that this Tiny's just doing work, just moving between lane to lane. Sure, the mid gank didn't go too well, but the pressure he's able to apply and the initial 2 to 3 minutes that he had top has enabled this Legion to be able to solo.
And continues to just go for the max and 0-1 odds build. It's kind of funny, right? Because, like, how do you feel about Legion right now? Does it feel like a hero that you think might get buffed next patch?
Incredibly underrated.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling as well.
Right now, he's like, in terms, like, from the stuff I've seen him do in like lanes, the fact that he has this flexibility of being like magic damage nuke and or physical damage kind of nuisance, where he just like life steals, can skip waves, like I think he's extremely undervalued in the meta right now.
I can see as well, like it's kind of crazy when you think of things like you can actually use Moment of Courage to deny as well, which has a lot of potential in solo lanes.
Sure, yeah. I think as well, BKB piercing stun, technically with duel. Like, there's a lot of quirky things you can do with Legion, so...
And the item build feels mostly kind of loose, right? There's 1 or 2 items that you feel, yeah, you should have, but there's no critical item per se.
I think, yeah, it's just the fundamentals would be obviously Phase, Blink,
maybe Blade Mail as well.
Blade Mail's like, yeah, it depends on what you're playing against. And then obviously like the quirkier ones are the Ags, depending on the game. If you're really strong, you can buy Ags and just like 1v1 some guy. Otherwise, yeah, you just buy what you need in the game. You can be an aura hero, you can be a greedier kind of BKB type hero.
Speaking of heroes, there's a lot in the bot lane right now. Something might be about to go down. Both supports from Viking have rotated down, but the hack seems aware of this. He does have the chrono as well. That's something he wants to use defensively. The supports on the other side, well, Lil is looking to make another move on mid again, but there's already a ward down this time from Vikings, so they should spot this movement.
They're already scouting out. You can see the line being drawn by No Fair. It's like this is the likely move they're going to make if they don't stay bottom.
They're rotating around the back now of Burn. Trying for an angle unexpected with the arrow. Does connect on the Dahak. Ice Path going to go down, try and defend him. Rajik's moving in, has got the Power Strike available. They need a time walk right now. Dahak will get it away. He has the chrono. He thinks about it, holds it in the end. And the toss forward, Legion can go for the duel. We'll find out Rajik's. They'll have to clean up for the Legion though, as the duel was interrupted. The chrono does go down. They don't even try for flash. They realize Mastermind has disappeared from the mid lane. They had the ward to support that information.
Yeah, it was good discipline after the chrono to get back. And I was thinking, it's like, during chrono right now, they actually don't have a lot of damage. The only damage that they have is going to come from like a triple raise combo, or maybe the reinitiate of the void after Tiny's been in and kind of cast his spell. So yeah, as much as Winstrike is pretty strong, they're strong in lanes, but their early fights potentially might be a little bit weak until they get like 1 or 2 items on their heroes.
I guess the other highlight point is, you know, what Kulich done there. Some people will be like, oh, lol, no duel victory for you. It's kind of imagining your duel for what it really is. It's nice if you get the damage, but what it really is a stun.
Yeah, he just yeah, exactly that. And like, for example, when the Tiny tossed him, if Tiny could have potentially tossed him onto the Marana, dueled the Marana, but then it's like the Sanking would just get away. So it's like, you need to we need to kill this core rather than killing this support and getting a little bit of duel. So
yeah, and that's kind of the value of what Flash is playing right now. The Shadow Demon especially, above all, it's like, okay, he's going to save if we don't go on him first, but if we go on him first, we probably miss out on other kills. Trying for a kill top, no fear. Does get found, but Kuman's here, and Chappy regrets what he just tried. We'll back up just in time. This might open up a push onto the tier 1 top, as Kuman has no intention of leaving, as Lil is now trying to be the pseudo mid.
I do love it being a pseudo mid.
Feels good, right? It's like, Lycan used to be one of my favorite. If I'm playing support and he's in safe lane, you know by like level 4 he's going to go to the jungle and let you have the lane.
Oh, it's like when you play Coddle. Oh, top bot lane.
Nope.
All right, no. Yeah, when you play Coddle, because sometimes you can put points in your E, like your your chakra to help enable like this int hero or a hero that has these spells, or you just go for the illuminate and you're like, come on carry, you don't need to be in this lane, man. I got my illuminate, come on, go farm jungle. And he's like, oh, okay.
You know, if you weren't such a reasonable person, I'd accuse you of doing it on purpose to force your carry away. Oh, there's pseudo mid. Well, he was there.
He can't.
Siphon cooldown though. He done his job.
Unfortunately, like, you want to, in terms of how you play the lanes, as soon as you get to this like 8 to 9 minute mark, even obviously 10-minute mark, you want to kind of vacate the lanes in some cores to enable your supports to kind of catch up. Primarily your position 4 needs to get those items. So when you're leaving the lane and Shadow Fiend's going jungle, unfortunately the mid lane, it can be quite a scary lane, especially when you have this SD Mirana. So this Tiny, as much as he's been given this free lane, it is probably the scariest lane on the map, because again, the tower's low and it's the easiest lane for the SD Mirana to kind of collapse on.
Yeah, and these kind of situations can be quite predictable because you can see from the levels, you know, it's very obvious Lil is under-leveled. He will be the one given that priority. Bot lane, moving on to Legion Commander. Pretty tanky. Is he tanky enough? He can't get the wand off in time. TP is cancelled. They're making the move top though. Chappy gets found. The Chrono thrown down. Reinforced to come in. The Macropan, the double raise, the Ice Path follow-up will secure the kill onto the Meepo.
And that's the damage that needed in the Chrono. It's the only way that they kill someone right now is this pairing of the Shadow Fiend Void. So it's nice to see them kind of work together. And you can also see that the Legion's itemization, he understands that right now the only way that his team dies is from this initial like magic burst. And if they can get past this kind of window, or like Vikings power spike, they should be in a good spot to kind of take these strong mid-game team fights. So buying that early pipe just enables him to sit in the dead lane, just farm it up and allow for enough time for TPs to come in from Winstrike to potentially turn it.
True, and you look at the game, you know, Winstrike, they wish they had a natural mech builder, right? Because you mentioned that initial burst, and Viking are reliant on that to get Scythe kill to then flip the fight with a numerical advantage. They're trying for
again, but it's
too early. Foolish dodged it out, the Fire Strike comes in, the start as well. Ice Path though, they're moving forward to Moran, the pings come out, they want that duel. It's just too far away. One leap will escape.
But I think they realized, even though they missed the arrow, this one time that they went on him, they should have seen his items and gone, ah, okay, he has got a hood this time. It's not going to be as easy. We're not going to be able to burst him that quickly.
They actually need to start respecting Legion. Maybe focus on something like the Void as a probably a lot easier target. But I guess in their mind, they're kind of looking at the Legion a bit like we were talking about the Shadow Demon, where it has this save. So if he's around and we jump anyone else, it's pointless.
Exactly that. They have to be jumping this Legion in the early stages of the game. Unless they've already seen him farming another lane, or like there's not like an obvious free kill.
Yeah, someone clearly out of position. I mean, like Legion, you know, it is under their own tier 1 tower, so you can see that kind of priority come to effect. While the hack is up here, the problem is always that Radiant does still have a tier 1 tower, Dire does not, so response is much quicker for Winstrike.
Yeah, exactly that.
Question is, when do you start taking towers on Viking? I mean, Chappy's starting to get some farm up now. He's still pretty far behind when you think about it from a Meepo perspective, though.
They have a very clear timing, which is the Meepo buying the Sand King buying the blink. As soon as you have that blink veil and you can kind of combo with your Necro pushing towers, you have this reinitiate. So if the Necro can survive the Chrono, it then means you will certainly get kills from the Sand King.
Taking a Sand King, moving towards the mid now with the Moonlight Shadow. Doesn't have the blink yet, but wants the gold to get it. Problem is, he's just revealed that he's here. Human, not as squishy anymore now that he's picked up the drums. Up to 1400, 1600 if he switches over to the strength treads. That pipe.
They're able to defend their tower whilst taking the bot tower. So this was pretty good overall from Viking.
They might actually get more out of this. Look at the rotation around the back here. Bonus in position. Ice Path.
Missing the Ice Path.
Bluff. Rajik will escape. The toss forward though. Who says no. Take the tower. I'm not dueling that deep. This is not
they don't
a
actually have
game.
Fortify in this position. If they had Fortify, they potentially could have taken the fight. The Blink Dagger just got given to the Sand King. And they have a smoke up on the Shadow Demon, so I wouldn't be surprised right now if they utilize their vision in the bot side of jungle and try and make a move.
When you get a big item like the Blink, you want to get maximum value before it's revealed, and that's what they're going to do. As you said, they smoke up. Bone's the only one revealing, but I don't know, you being that kind of aggressive, it might be a little bit obvious that more people in the neighborhood. Bounties will go the way of Winstrike because the hack is all alone in this top lane. Look at the warding actually coming up from Winstrike. They know everything that the Meepo is doing, and anyone who tries to force transgression through that area. Meanwhile, bot, Cypher out. They do get the tiny. There is a Requiem though, and now the duel's going to be there as well. But Necrophos, he did protect himself, and there's going to be a protection additional from Shadow Demon. But he'll get help with the Chrono. He will go down. Mastermind, does he have an escape? They kill off Kuman. Chappie is looking to overwhelm the entirety of Winstrike as the hack, in the end, just completely waste that Chrono.
Follow the Death Pulse.
Nope,
no.
He guessed wrong. Rajik's tried for the cute Burrow Strike. Wasn't on the mark though. Still a good fight though. 3 dead, 4-1, and they will secure this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, overall, it's Viking playing off the strength of the Sand King. Like, as much as you can shut down a Meepo in terms of like pressuring him in lane, making him feel under-leveled, he still naturally farms. You can see that entire time they're making that smoke, Chappie had two clones in his own jungle. Sure, it was under vision, but it's like, you can't just suddenly just teleport all your heroes to the Meepo and kill him, right? Like, you don't know where any heroes are on the map, so it's sure that you see the Meepo farming, but you can't do anything about it unless you make this 5-man move and control that area.
And it feels like maybe Winstrike are being forced too much to focus on Mastermind, who, once he has that Cypher kill, you saw it, like, they threw everything at him and didn't even put a dent in him. And suddenly, that's the situation where Chappie's free to do whatever the hell he wants in these fights.
Yeah, he's slowly tanking up. You can see, like, obviously he's nearly got the Greaves. He most likely will be buying a pipe, potentially not, because the Sand King's got one kind of queued up. So, yeah, like, as long as this Necro tanks up, all he needs to do is frontline. You kind of accept that he's going to get Chrono, survive the Chrono, and then they're most likely going to turn the fight with the Sand King and Meepo, reinitiate.
They are getting aggressive at the bot tower. They're only showing Mastermind. They realize the rest of Viking must be somewhere close by. So they'll just surrender this area and move towards the top. This is the natural state of Dota right now. When you're the Radiant team, you want to take control of the Dire jungle. And when you're the Dire team, you want to get rid of that tier 2 bot as quickly as possible, so that you never get pulled away from Roche. In fact, they're smoked and moving. Invasion time. Or what do we call this? A reclamation. It is their jungle to begin with. We'll see if they can actually do something.
Potentially the scariest move that Viking can make right now. They've never played in their own jungle other than the Meepo and do not have any vision control. So this fight will be the a very advantageous fight for Winstrike.
Burrow Strike comes in. Legion hit up. The arrow fall off as well. Ice Path try and protect him, but Legion getting too low. The Scythe will kill him off. And they did have the detection, even though the Moonlight Shadow was there. But in the end, doesn't quite matter because Viking were more than quick enough to clean that up.
The caveat to that was if the Legion isn't the one that gets jumped, because he is their save.
This is true. I mean,
it was the Legion that got jumped.
It's not like you have any reset, right? Like Void, he'd already time walked back, so he couldn't try and time walk forward to Chrono.
Yeah, and the Chrono was on cooldown at the very start of that move, and it just came off cooldown like as soon as the fight kind of broke out. The Legion was already scythed.
And as a result, they'll have to surrender this tier 1 top. All of a sudden, Vikings starting to escalate. You know, we talked about this Meepo who was looking pretty poor through Meepo. He's looking a lot more bulky, a lot more healthy now. He's already got the ultimate orb. He's got enough for the second, and he's top of the net worth chart. And he's chasing for more.
Going on a solo play.
He does not fear dragons, okay? When you're this rich, the dragon should fear you. But his name is No Fear. He accepts his death. He'll burn the creeps at least. No macro power to throw down, though.
Meanwhile, Viking are still moving forward on the map. Like, they're not just doing any slow plays. They're trying to keep this pressure up. They're trying to stay on like kind of at the front door of Winstrike.
It feels like especially they're punishing the nature of this Void in this lineup, right? Like, it always feels like every time we look at Void, he needs more time. You mentioned earlier he didn't have the damage to the Chrono. It's not like he's been able to go for like a quick timing on Midas to just rush items. He was forced into this Maelstrom and straight into the BKB after.
Yeah, at the start of this game, it was I did say it's like the Vikings draft is very much like we play for Sand King, we have this farmed Meepo, and we're going to try and pressure you, and we're going to try and make you force out mistakes and try and end the game. And then Winstrike's job is like, we can potentially play lanes well, we're going to struggle then for like 20 minutes, but then if we overcome that aggression and power spike of Viking, then we can take the fight to you. So it's like, it's currently kind of Vikings' game to sail out and potentially try and win right now, whilst Winstrike, they're still just playing it out. Like, Viking are on a timer.
Oh, Winstrike gets struck on here. Burrow Strike to the back line. The Avalanche to cover now. Jumping in with this Scythe there. They try and toss the Legion away. He will die after the Scythe. Now the Chrono to catches so many in the macro part as well. Kuman on the back line. Does have the Requiem. Was going to charge it up as BKB. No one would have dropped him. Chappie getting low. Moonlight Shadow try and get him out. TP by Chappie trying to get out, and he'll be able to do so. The Yule's going to be there though. Onto the Void. They lose No Fear. Burrow Strike timed perfectly to bring out the Void. Ultra kill for Red Cheeks. He's going to get the Rampage. They're trying to give it to him. The foul tap stolen away from him by Flash. Viking asserting dominance and then some. It just seems like every move Winstrike tries to make is just preordained and predicted by Viking.
Yeah, it was a very good fight from Viking. They currently are the strongest team compared in terms of like the items they have, the levels they have, the vision control they have. So yeah, Winstrike taking these fights is like, it's worrying. And that entire time they were unable to get the Sand King out of his sandstorm. So they were fighting into high ground inside a sandstorm in a choke point. It was, yeah.
And let's keep in mind,
it wasn't ideal.
This is pre-15 Sand King, so that's not even once he gets that additional sandstorm DPS.
Yeah.
In which case they start to melt, and in which case maybe then Flash won't be able to steal a rampage away from Sand.
Yeah, he did steal that, but I want to make that very clear.
It was very clear.
He didn't have to do anything, and that guy was dead. And he was like right-clicking that guy. He was spamming it.
Like, even Mastermind, you know, you expect him. He's like, oh, I need the regen. He would have an excuse. He stopped clicking as well.
Yeah.
Maybe it causes some turmoil in the team. Maybe that's what Winstrike needs. That is not what they need. A BKB and a TP away. And these are the big BKB charges already down to the 8-second mark on the Shadow Fiend.
And these moves, it's like, sure, even if there was someone else there and the Shadow Fiend could turn and kill the SD, it doesn't matter because Chappie's just getting Roshan. So this move's perfectly fine.
Yeah. He's
good.
happy to die there is the point, right? Like he's used his ultimate, which kind of deceives them to like, wait, if he's committing like this, he must have someone behind him. That roast wasn't exactly fast.
No, it was as fast as it could be for 21 minutes with no medallion, no kind of minus armor type lineup.
Or a tanky lineup, as the Skadi is complete on the Meepo now, and up to 2.3k HP. With the 20% evasion now coming into effect, there is a question on how you actually kill the Meepo, especially if Mastermind is there to heal him up again. We look at the items. Maybe this is the one that gives you the ability. Lil, he does have the gold for the Spirit Vessel, but he needs to reach the secret shop, which is not happening anytime in the next 2 minutes.
No, the way that Viking are playing right now, they're just positioning themselves outside the base, potentially starting up a slow siege.
Tappy does have that DD, so he wants to start clubbing towers. Avalanche to frustrate them a little bit, but it won't really slow them down. Ice Path might though. They're looking good with the Macropire now as well on the toss. Getting one back. Rajik's in deep. Burrow Strikes out back into the burning field from the Macropire. But they get out under the illusion of night, as we are in fact at daytime.
That was unfortunate. A little bit of miscommunication between the Tiny and Legion. Not pre-casting the Jewel on the toss, therefore not locking him down so he could Burrow Stroke away.
You know, it's fair to say that Rajik's is still more or less the one you want to open with, because then there's no sort of counter initiation that can come in. Level 2 epicenter at this stage does hurt.
Yeah, like right now it's just the fact that this Sand King's too much of a nuisance. But it's the same style as yesterday. We saw that it was, what was the draft? It had a Meepo, it had the Timbersaw,
and then there was the OD mid.
And the OD, yeah. It was like this type of... Was it Meepo OD? Alright, I'm gonna have to check this.
The Timber game was an OD game, I think.
Give me one sec. I'm gonna have to double check.
I remember us talking about how like the lineup really hard snowballed. Pretty sure it was an OD.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, it was. Yeah, it was Meepo, Timber, OD, and it's the exact same style as today. They've got this, but they've swapped out. So right now, the Necro is now in place. Like the Meepo is now the main core, and now the Timbersaw is basically like the Necro hero. Or the Necro is a Timber hero, right? So you've got these like two annoying laners that will just kind of, you can just sit solo whilst the Meepo is able to farm. And if any of those three cores have a hard game, they're able to farm in the pockets of space that the other cores make. And this is like the style that Viking are running and clearly doing well with.
Yeah, and more or less anyone on their team is so hard to kill, right? Like, you know, Bone on the Marana, he can leap away, he's pretty elusive. You've got the saves from Flash, and speaking of Bone, this is a very bold arrow. I'll just let him get away. But I guess to complete the point, right, is like, we mentioned those two supports who, in their own ways, are hard to kill or stop you from killing other people. And then Necrophos at this stage in the game with the Lotus and the Guardian Greaves isn't dying anytime soon, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Another elusive hero in the Sand King. Speaking of which, yeah, they missed the stun. The Chrono's going to come out. The Magpie's down. Arrow going to be dodged out. The Hack chasing in, looking for killing Chappie. They'll be able to get it. Aegis is down, but they're going to heal up the Guardian Greaves now. They didn't get rid of Mastermind, and that's the problem. They have to run away with the Time Warp. Ice Path, beautifully placed to cover them. A lot of damage being done as well. The Avalanche follow-up, Reggie is feeling the pain a little. They'll be able to move away now. They say, okay, Aegis expended, but nothing really lost. Instead, Winstrike are the ones who have to expend a lot, as they did use the Chrono. which is the big kind of enabler for them right now. They need to take really any fight.
Yeah, there's currently a 2-minute window right now where Viking will be a lot stronger. I think that move made by Winstrike was probably one of the best moves they could have made, being able to take away the Aegis, but now it's can they defend for 2 minutes, and the fight after will be theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like, I think the difference to them here is they know that this gives control of the map to Viking, but it makes them less likely to go on the high grounds because of it, right? Like when they have the Aegis, they feel compelled to do whatever they want. Lil in trouble, the side's going to hit him. He does toss back Rajits, but still, no precast on the duel. In fact, I don't think he wanted a duel there.
No. The Tiny should have just sat back for a little bit there. Then Shakira was still dead. They don't have this ice path to be like a kind of a little bit of control for them. So
yeah, there should be a lane because Lil doesn't have buyback either. Ice path, macro path. That might scare them off long enough, actually. The Piper is protecting from the damage. Jump in by Void. He knows there's no side, but this is a lot of damage being done. There's no way to protect him. Trying to do so, but gets pretty low with the E-Blade. We'll be able to move away just in time. That was an aggressive E-Blade. Maybe if it wasn't there, they would have been able to club him down, but they still force him back to regen. They don't get the melee racks, but they don't lose anyone for it.
Top shrine is under attack.
Although they will now lose their shrines.
Still a costly defense with the tiny death, so
yeah, that was probably the best that Winstrike could have hoped for.
Top shrine has fallen.
Oh.
Yeah, it's now this next set of moves will be very interesting from Winstrike. Like, they don't have the Aegis on the Meepo, so if they do catch the Meepo in the Chrono, get the Raise off, get the Macro Pie down, they might be able to actually kill him. And if they kill the Meepo at the start of the fight, they do lack a lot of this kind of obviously it's simple terms damage, but it's more like the physical damage. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Christ, why can I think of physical? How hard is it to say physical?
Some people just call it right-clicky damage.
Right-clicky damage, yeah, exactly.
I'll use this right-click, but I want to make it more childish and kind of basic. I found a way, just putting a Y in it.
Is this one of the, is this coming the, what's it stream? Do you know when they have the
newbie
learning
streams?
streams?
Yeah, the newbie stream.
Yeah.
They should really bring those back. Like, I was talking to a few companies, like, honestly, just get in contact with the TOs, run it from a studio. It's a good idea. Like, Dota is more complicated than it's ever been. And this wraparound...
Oh, but there's a team fight, though.
The arrow, but there's the press the attack. Nofi is leading the way. Ironically, always living up to his name. Ice Path going to go down, but Red Cheek sidesteps it. Hit up with the Avalanche. Will start a bit now. The follow-up there, the bash down the Chrono. Gets the Yules off in time. They need a Requiem to finish off. Red Cheek's quick enough so he can't do anything. He will go down. Chappie chase for the back line. Will find the kill on the Nofi. Kuma needs to move away quickly, though. BKB is running out soon. Looking for a kill on the Void. He's almost dead, and he's gone. The E-Blade enabling him so much. They're going to chase for more. Lil won't be snared by a net, but will be hit up by a pesky Scorpion. As he gets stunned up on the spot, he'll get sniped as well. He's gone. The poor man still has no Spirit Vessels to his name. He's still on 0 charges.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was they're too tanky and had too many saves at this point where
PG
Winstrike, even though they found the Chrono, they just weren't able to do any damage really in it.
It kind of felt grim, right? Like, I think the reason I kind of highlight the Spirit Vessel at the end there is there's maybe a way that Winstrike can start to bounce back, but it really requires that you have those Spirit Vessel charges. You saw how long the Sand King lasted, right? But
yeah,
for that first, because he was on 0 charge for so long, he needs an opening kill. And it felt like for the last 6, 7, 8 minutes, Viking have more or less always been together. So there's no pick-off. So there's no direct fight they can take even with the Chrono.
Yeah, I just think right now, Viking, they have a very specific style of play. And it's just strong lanes with aggression in the mid-game, early mid-game aggression. So it does punish these like kind of greedier drafts. And when you have this Winstrike lineup that has this is focused around this this Chrono and this like mid to late game damage, where if they don't have a good start to the game, they are going to be on the back foot the entire time. It just kind of amplifies Vikings' kind of playstyle. So it's be interesting to see if Winstrike really value this forward going into the next game, just knowing how Viking likes to kind of play around these Meepos, these Lycans.
That's something we'll get to find out in just a few minutes, but this is getting very worrisome for Winstrike fans. Viking fans are jumping up and out of their seats because of the upper bracket advantage that we come into in the best of 5. It means the Viking are now 2-0 after one game. That's right, one game away from securing themselves a spot at ESL Hamburg 2019. Winstrike, not a miracle maybe, but you need to play some pitch perfect Dota for the next 3 games to get yourself there. We'll see if they can do that in just a few minutes time. First, we're going to take a break.
ESL 1 Hamburg.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
To be brilliant is to defy convention and challenge expectations. So Intel will bring the processing power for when it's time to go. Brilliant. Frame rates that keep up with your reflexes. Brilliant. Fast clock speeds for when you're on the clock. Brilliant. It's what we do at Intel, powering you to master your potential. Will you rise? Intel. Unleash your brilliance.
Remember where it started. Your first experiences. The journey you traveled. The journey you love. Remember where it started. And imagine where it will go. Rise on.
It's grand final time. Watch it live. The Vodafone 5G ESL Mobile Open. Tune in on the 28th and 29th of September.
So this is it. This is where it all started. The great business of DHL.
You remember when we still use these?
We have all come a long way since then.
Hey, Effie, my little buddy. I got a special job for you. And this is only the beginning.
Life is made up by special moments that touch us. A touch of genius, an inspirational touch, and a touch of magic. Some touches are simply unique. Euronics, a human touch in a digital world.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
To be brilliant is to defy convention and challenge expectations. So Intel will bring the processing power for when it's time to go. Brilliant. Frame rates that keep up with your reflexes. Brilliant. Fast clock speeds for when you're on the clock. Brilliant. It's what we do at Intel, powering you to master your potential. Will you rise? Intel. Unleash your brilliance.
Remember where it started. Your first experiences. Remember where you came from. The journey you traveled. The journey you love. Remember where it started. And imagine where it will go. Rise on.
It's grand final time. Watch it live. The Vodafone 5G ESL Mobile Open. Tune in on the 28th and 29th of September.
It's game fuel. It's domination in a can. Tastes like loser tears.
New Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Seconds remaining.
Welcome back, folks, to Viking versus Winstrike in ESL 1 Hamburg EU Qualifiers Grand Final. We are in for Game 3, technically Game 2 of the day, but you know how those one game advantages work. And they got it right this time. Viking are 2 up, which means that Winstrike, no more losses are allowed. And you can already see, we talked a little bit before we went live about this T. Viking are trying for someone that, you know, for a while we've seen kind of this cheese strap with the Magnus enabling like a super powerful call like PA. But you also mentioned off mic, Winstrike, they've gone ultra aggressive here. They're not going to allow it to come online, is their logic.
Yeah, so I think, again, like the Mag PA is just an overall very solid and kind of understood strategy. It just kind of, the Mag will be the offlane in this role, which I think I prefer. Out of all the options where Magnus can be, if Magnus is a 5, it just means that you're kind of already putting yourself on the back foot. You just got this like, kind of like ogre-like hero, we're just enabling, but not really providing too much. So I think Viking, they've picked the strategy, but in like kind of best light it can in the current meta. But I feel Winstrike's draft right now, they've gone for a very classic kind of CIS opening. You saw earlier in the tournament against, I believe, Fly the Moon, the gyros being banned out first phase. And this is simply because right now they have this high regard for this hero, being able to like play aggressive in the laning phase, get your level 6, move, secure a tower, and just be right in the face of Viking. And you can see Viking's draft. Sure, they've got Mag PA, but they don't have this kind of frontliner to deal with this aggression from Winstrike right now. So Winstrike could have the upper hand at the moment from draft alone.
Yeah, that's like Magnus. He's a bulky boy, but it's not the way it's played competitively. You know, you get in your pub games, you make your bulk boy who hits really hard, and he sort of frontlines as well because he's a strength hero. You're kind of looking to wait on the size of Magnus. You want to pounce. It's the axe logic. Whereas for Winstrike, Jared tanks up nicely. He's a great chase hero. And Okay, this is kind of turned into like a good start from Winstrike, followed by it feels like we get an insurance policy on the late game, right? Like if PA gets out of control with 40 minutes in, we have a TB.
So right now, like as much as like Winstrike's draft is really aggressive and could close out the game, they are on a timer because Mag PA is like one of the best combos for putting a team on a timer if they don't pick enough late game. So this Terrorblade pick, it just enables you to have the aggression, have the early tower taker, and you can close out the game if you win it hard enough with this kind of lineup. But then additionally, if the game goes late enough and you've kind of struggled to get into high ground, you have this insurance, which is your TB, where if he's farmed kind of correctly in the early to mid game, it means you're not going to be too scared of this PA.
And Terrorblade has the benefits of being able to fall back to the jungle very quickly if things go bad. And you look already, Winstrike does have a hero that can soak up that XP and that gold and do things with it, which is the Phoenix. It's a bit like it's more like the kind of Winter Wyvern role. Although you're not as good at shoving out the lane, you definitely can exist without much threat to your life.
Yeah, I'd like to see one more support from Winstrike that can push out lanes potentially, allowing for the TB to go jungle with the defensive vision, and then push out lanes on the support and still play aggressive with the gyro. So
where they could go with that. Someone like a keeper I don't like much because they don't have enough lockdown,
okay,
right?
the Wyvern's already banned as expected, yeah. So
it's like the Phoenix will be playing
yeah,
a 4.
Keeper Kotal could be a classic because Kotal's TB is a very classic, but it's a band as well because I haven't even looked at the Kotal band.
You're right, actually. Yeah,
I didn't even see that.
I mean, we're just not really used to seeing it. It doesn't feel like a highly sought after
hero.
No,
it's a really strong hero right now. It's a really strong hero. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Winstrike goes. I think they need a hero that can push out lanes and still fight early on. So if the Phoenix is position 4, then maybe some Shadow Demon type hero for save, get the Purge onto the PA. Could be good. Oh, it's banned as well.
They banned that.
Okay, hold on. I'm just going to look at the bans for a second.
Yeah. Just review the bans. I'll come up with another idea in the meantime. Maybe Oracle?
It doesn't provide anything, really. I don't think.
Oh, Lich. Okay.
There you go. Sure, good against physical damage. Provides a little bit of aggression.
Especially effective against the PA, considering that it's percentage damage reduction against a hero that likes to 1-2 tap people to death.
Yeah, Lich was an all-round good pick. So right now they can. He's not like obviously the lane pusher that I described, but he's able to secure a lane and just through obviously having the blast, make sure the TB doesn't die. The damage post arrow from Marana will again be physical damage. So yeah, I think all round, Winstrike have a decent enough lineup to be able to potentially run over Viking. But this Ember pick is extremely, extremely scary for Winstrike, where the only way they lock him down is this Axe Call. So as much as Winstrike has this aggressive lineup with this Terrorblade insurance, Viking has this Ember where if he has a good start to the game, could make so much kind of chaos on the map that the PA can farm up in that time and cause Winstrike some problems. So I think Viking's draft hinges on the Ember having a good game, and for Winstrike, it's just about playing the lanes, being aggressive, and forcing the objectives.
Especially when you consider how the Ember and the Magnus can connect in the mid game, right? Like you think of heroes that are happy to go on kill patrol with something like a Magnus. Ember's definitely up there. One of the heroes definitely benefits the most from the buff as well. And then for Winstrike, like I said, it kind of feels like they need to do something to, weirdly enough, stave off any attempt at taking control from Viking, right? Because Terrorblade is going to need that jungle. We've seen, I think, only one Terrorblade game so far this qualifier, but it's very kind of descriptive of what a Terrorblade needs, right? It's like, just leave me alone, even if it's my own jungle, just leave me alone there for 20 minutes, 25, then I'll start doing something.
Oof, that's a long time to be in the jungle, good sir.
Well, it's how it is. The jungle keeps getting more complicated every day. New tree lines to explore. You get lost in there for a whole game. Plenty of my Legion commanders
I would agree with that. I do like that cosmetic actually for Axe.
That's quite good, right? Yeah.
But no, yeah, like the way that TB plays will be like he'll play lane for maybe 5-6 minutes. If it's hard, he'll go jungle, and then as soon as he has his points in meta, like high points in meta, and around about like the catapult waves, he'll then kind of leave the jungle, pressure an objective, then he'll retreat back to the jungle. So as much as like he's a fun-oriented hero, he still will be applying pressure throughout every catapult phase of the game.
Of course, you mentioned the catapults, and I can't help but instantly look at Bone 7 because there's any hero that will look to ruin those push-ins from you each time. It's a Mirana.
Just gotta hope the Terror is good on his illusion micro, you know.
That's true. Bodyguard.
Bodyguard the catapult. There we go. Yeah.
Catapult has never been such a VIP in a game.
It is when there's a Mirana in the game. You gotta protect that guy. Like if I was like position 5 playing in the game and I saw Mirana throwing an arrow to my catapult, I'd be running my body into it just to protect it.
Slow-mo screaming.
Catapult is so valuable. Yeah.
That's fair. Like, you're just a measly 5. What do you do to that tab? But that catapult will do godly things. But I'm just looking forward to 10 minutes in the game, just watching Frost Shields go on the catapults as well. Everything.
I don't think we're that too invested in keeping the catapults alive.
No! Cardi must live to die to the next tower.
The big play is actually the position 5 Bane against the Mirana, because then you can sleep the catapult and get the arrow to pass through during the sleep.
That's true, but this Bane, I mean,
perfectly.
As long as Flash isn't trolling, this Bane should be enabling the Mirana in this game.
Oh yeah. Who'd have thought? Oh, shucks.
They could actually potentially kill No Fear here. He's not careful. Like if they get Nightmare into the arrow, because of course those creeps won't aggro.
Yeah,
but they just want to slow down.
Kind of showing, and he just wants to get the block. They value getting the lane reset more than going for a first blood on a Lich.
And we're seeing some block spot as well, as Rajix is revealed to be alone. Takes a decent amount of damage as well. Does get it under his tower. Really what you want to have happen, but...
Tri-lane or tri-lane action.
One should be interesting. When you think about kind of the greedy nature of some of these heroes, like Phoenix especially wants XP.
Yeah, in general he does. Early on he can play a little bit aggressive in lane, but it's important for him to maybe zone out and or get a kill during like the first portion of the game. Then he can be greedier, but
it's important to point out, like, you know, we've seen the Mirana before and we talked about these tri-lane theories, but in this type of tri-lane you don't really have a save. So for example, if Lil gets hit by the arrow, zero armor hero melts pretty fast. He does at least have his Batty. He was saving up for that.
It's just a little bit of an awkward lane though for Winstrike. They used the meta, they secured some CS with the Hug, but they don't have a lot of damage outside of the supports kind of throwing their spells. If the TB ever gets close enough to right click the Radiant lineup, then he probably is out of position and will get combo down.
Yeah, and this kind of benefits Viking that right now Winstrike can't be super aggressive, because I'd say that 2 is stronger, right? Because then you've got the Nightmare to set up arrows, you've got the mobility from Bone to go for kills.
Yeah, it's just like an awkward lineup though. So like, I feel like actually even if the TB got arrowed, he actually doesn't die. Like the PA doesn't do any damage to him. It's actually like a really awkward lane.
Yeah, you
take back what I said about the combo
supports on each side, right? Like you have to go for the supports.
It's like who can zone out supports first to then leave it as like a a numbers game.
They might get lull here. They were looking for the arrow, but they were bodyguarding. Well, they can arrow now. Not really the one they want, though. Dahak didn't get in the way of it in time, and the Nightmare switch over doesn't help you. It actually hurts you. Lil needs to run away, but it's too late. First blood does get drawn. That was an awkward exchange of Nightmares back and forth.
I think not.
Yeah, this is just the who supports die more kind of lane compared to the let's kill the core lane.
Kind of an example of a problem shared, problem half not always being true there. Is that Nightmare dragging on for like double its time actually hurt them more than anything, because there was decent trades. I mean, Flash should be much lower for what happened, and he might be now. Gets the Nightmare out, but there's a reflection to slow him down, and they'll get a kill. As you said, murdering of supports back and forth. However, Chappie is alone here. They might be able to get him. It's going to be close. One's up. Will live because Mirana did leave, and now it's obvious.
In the bot lane, by the way, he is getting dove hard.
Not just dove, he's dying hard. Rajix tries to push him away, says get back, but he can't get the creep in time. The Battle Hunger does kill him off.
Yeah, I think the most important lane out of all these lanes actually is going to be that this Axe Magnus lane, because again, like I said at the start, this Ember, he has the potential to control the early game aggression, and if the Axe has a good start and can get a couple pick-offs onto the Ember in these like crucial fights, then yeah, Winstrike will potentially be in a good spot.
Yeah, it's kind of, they're forcing this try top, and you know, Axe is definitely going to dominate immediately here in a one-on-one. We're already kind of seeing that a bit with that kill, and CS is showing it as well. There's already a lead for Gulic, and he's sitting top of the net worth with a decent lead. Expect that to accelerate more, because if there's one thing that Axe loves, is being left alone, because it is that type of hero that will just pull the creeps away from the lane if necessary, and just double his farm with a creep camp. Always a fun experience.
Yeah, the thing is in this lane, the oh, there's the pause. Nice, I can make my point. The Axe doesn't want to play behind the tower because, like I said yesterday, the Axe can play and skip the wave behind tower and be greedy with the neutral camp, but he only wants to do it against heroes that can't actually like farm the lane under tower. So, for example, like this Lifestealer type hero, and in this situation, you got the Magnus. He just gets the points in the Empower, buys an extra bit of regen. He's got his Stout Shield. He can just farm and do the exact same, a little bit slower, but can farm up as greedily. So the Axe needs to play in the lane to have these scenarios where he can get the call off onto the Magnus, get the battle hungers and annoy him, because then obviously he has the ability to win the lane rather than just trade in the lane.
I guess there's also a bonus point is that he's kind of look at these little creeps as allies that need to exist, because that arrow combo could kill him if they rotate both supports down, right?
Sure, and I think in that scenario, if they were to rotate bottom, it would actually be beneficial for the overall game plan of Winstrike, though, where if the Axe dies, the TB farms, and then you can play off the TB's ability to pressure whilst the Axe can then recover. But
yeah, right now the hack is an insurance policy, but if you do that, you make him cash in early. And he might be checking out here, but the Frost Shield should keep him up and healthy, throws all the spirits out. Very quick fingers, will salve up, and Flash just got baited into his own death by his own team. He'll go down Bone. He'll have to burn the leaps, and remember, this is still a level 1 leap, so that is pretty costly.
It's just the battle of supports, and right now, Winstrike are currently winning on this little battle.
Daffy is getting punished hard as well. Might have to go for the Shrine. Pretty low on HP. Ryan needs it as well. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it's been pretty silent. We haven't really talked too much about this, but there is a pretty dominant lead for Kuman right now.
Yeah. He has crushed it right now. There's no real kill potential on either side, especially when the Ember gets to level 6. So it's all about like who makes the first rotation. So
there's a rotation coming.
Yeah, the key setup would be the arrow into let's say the sleep into arrow onto the gyro is probably the cleanest way you can get this kill.
It's just awkward right now because Kuman, it looks like he's anticipating something. He's already using the catapult to bodyguard him. Maybe a necessary sacrifice to keep himself alive.
No.
It's just the correct positioning. You know that they've been tri-laning top, so playing on the bottom side of this mid lane is the correct play. If he was playing on the top side, he'd already be dead by now. So
Ryan's trying to wrap around now, but Kuman is still getting very suspicious because he realizes no one is showing top. Arrow coming in.
Unfortunately, this play was really smart by Bone 7 to do the wraparound, but it should have been the Bane making this move. Like there have been a bit of miscommunication, like Bone opting to try and go for the arrow out setup, but in reality, that should have just been Bane goes round, gets to sleep, get the arrow, instant kill, move, go on to next. So
yeah, in the end, it just turns into a screw it arrow. Like I'm here, I might as well try and then move away because you know the game is up. They know what we're doing.
It's just a wasted rotation overall. Like the TV was able to hit creeps, Axe still farming and pressuring the Magnus. Max again, still top CS. It's like the max deaths, whatever, but.
Pull coming out. Kulich trying for a kill onto this mag. Rajix, he might go for the skewer on the tower. The arrow is there. Protection from No Fear. Keep him alive. In fact, Rajix, he's going to die at this rate. One more spin will do it. The dunk is there. And Kulich can just walk away.
He'll get a
second one. Another one, but no more. As Mastermind does show up. Vengeance will be had. Axe will go down. He'll chase on to No Fear. Mastermind doesn't have any points in the Flame Guards, though, so no kind of cheese invis tricks here. He'll just cut down the trees and get the kill. Meanwhile, Bone is just trying to get a little bit of CS in the mid lane. This Murano is pretty underleveled. I say pretty
now
insane,
they've
actually.
vacated the top lane as well, and Phoenix can just farm up. TB now potentially going to be moving into the jungle. They've got the double ward set up at both entries to the jungle, which means the TB should be somewhat protected to farm.
Of course, we mentioned this, you know, TV, they can go the jungle as well as too, but once you get like 4 or 5, it's such a huge difference in the speed which you clear.
Yeah, he'll be farming this extremely quickly.
because you do this. You mentioned that Lil was going to sit in the lane, and that enables that Phoenix. We said that it would function a bit like a Wyvern, but now that you've left the PA here alone, there's not really much threat to Lil's life, and instead, Lil will be the one who can actually try and interrupt the CSing of the PA.
Yeah, if anything, because the Phoenix and the PA are the same level, Phoenix could zone out the PA. It won't be that easy, but again, Phoenix against these melee heroes, he can do a little bit of damage. He just needs to hit the spirits.
They have found an easy kill, or at least they thought so, but the arrow comes into Lich. They're trying to get rid of him quick enough. Flash is still pretty tanky. The Nightmare switching around. There it is. They get the kill, but Akulich still gets one as well. So both boss 5s beating the offlaners side.
Yeah, it's all about this Axe having a good game, and yeah, he's cleaning up some kills.
And you know, there's no rush for him to get a Blink Dagger because, as we mentioned, everything's according to plan. TB is able to just fall back to that jungle, and Kuman is still asserting dominance. Like, no one actually wants to be in this mid lane right now.
It's just, yeah, it's the Gyro and TB just quietly farming up, and as soon as they're ready to play Dota and they want to kind of make that aggression, they can.
Failed rotation by Mastermind. He was trying to be aggressive in the top, but Lil realizes, actually, you only have one stun. I can just TP out every time. Human, however,
cancel the sleep with the illusion. Thank you.
A little bit deep here. Mastermind trying to move in. Does have the Seer and Chains. There's the cooldown though to protect him. The arrow through does connect, however. The damage on a Mastermind is so large though. They have to get Chappie in. Mastermind barely staying alive there. Rocket Barrage hurts, turns out. Now bot.
Took a lot of heroes.
This is a hard kill. Magnus is a bulky boy. Instead of Skewer Axe on the tower towards the creeps. That's not
into the creep wave.
Rajix, what are you doing? This is how you get killed. Oh, Rajix. I mean, Skewer any other direction. Just not there.
And now TV sees that the Magnus is dead. They've forced 4 heroes into the kind of Roshan pit area. Boom, instantly take this tower. They got the vision set up to take this fight as well. Should be a free tower, unlocking an entry to the jungle.
I mean, do you think it was panic? Because I'm pretty sure Rajix also had TP available.
I feel like if he didn't skewer there, maybe he could have TP'd, but the Lich did have the Sinister Gaze up, I believe.
No, he used the start.
Did he?
I think it's like level 1. So yeah,
right.
24 seconds. I guess it was just panic more than anything else, right?
Yeah, it happens.
Like, instinctively, it's that arrow. Bone? You cheeky devil, Kuman. Gets found out. Rocket Barrage hurting Chappie a lot, but they're going to share the damage between them. No Fear, not level 6. Does use Sinister Gaze control PA, but Gyro is dead, and No Fear as well. And Axe, you're strong. You're definitely strong enough. Marana pays the price. Nothing else on the exit. So, 2-for-1 trade. We talked about how valuable this Gyro has been, but honestly, the desire is to find this TB, if anything, who's now left alone in the bot lane.
Yeah, it's... do you know when I just spoke about the style of Viking in the last game, like how you have this these annoying heroes whilst one guy farms? You've got this Axe and Gyro kind of doing the same thing now. You've got this Gyro who's got a ton of damage in the early game, really can pressure a PA. Obviously is a bit susceptible to dying to the route into arrow or sleep into arrow. But yeah, and then you have the Axe who's got phase going hood, he's really tanky. Like if they start playing this kind of fluid Dota together, holding the high grounds, getting these deep wards out, it just means that this TB will be able to farm, and if he buys the correct items, they could easily pressure Viking.
I mean, pressure is on Viking to make something happen. Human would be a nice target, but he's so fast already. There's no chance you get the Fiend's Grip with the Enfeeble on. Instead, there's a smoke movement. Winstrike, doing it again.
Okay, he went for the Blink Dagger instead of the Hood, which means, yeah, they're going to play off of the Gyro's strength. Yeah, my fear was if he did go for the Hood and tried tanking up, then it would mean, sure he doesn't die, but they don't have any like true initiate outside of maybe a dive into egg, which you don't really want to rely on ever.
There's the reveal on the Rajix, who's made an initiate. Viking won't get a chance to get anywhere near items that would allow him to do so. He does fall. And like Shadow,
they have no detection with them, so they have to just disengage right now.
T, you seem to be.
Shadows out, they should go again.
You're going a little bit robot on us. Let's restart the call.
Yeah.
The classic. I always knew robots wanted T. It made sense.
Hello, am I a robot?
You are fabulous now. This is great.
Wonderful.
Alright. Don't worry though, we definitely got your point.
Excellent.
Luckily, it was just about clear enough. So how are we looking on the Phoenix in the meantime?
Radiant's top tower.
He's level 8. He's got himself a some tranquil boots.
He's
Building
going for the
towards the
veil.
veil. He's a happy little chap.
And more importantly, he's not doing too bad on the XP, actually. Getting ever close to that level 10 where the gold just starts to spike up for him. Just needs to make sure he's doing what he's doing now, where he pulls the creep wave towards his tower, so there's no risk that he dies.
Yeah, you never want to be too far up in the lane.
Smoke. Mastermind has a DD. This could be a big kill if they can find a hack. Beastgood comes out straight away. They're moving in with a Remnant. See you later, Terrorblade. The TP's coming in. The Rainbow TP's, in fact. Flash may pay a price, but on the Nightmare. Oh, the arrow as well. Human can clean up this kill alone, but that was a little bit messy for a moment for Winstrike.
They were so close to catching the gaze onto the Ember as well there. But again, like, that was a really good move by Viking. They forced every hero into the tri-camp of Winstrike. So now you can just see that Chappie's just farming up top, pushing out mid. Like, they're fine.
Meanwhile, Kulich trying to get more value out of the blink, but Ember, yeah, he's not too swishy right now. He's up to level 10. He's got the wand as well.
The key thing though is the Axe is playing correctly. He's getting close towards the blade mail. He's pressuring the Ember, understanding that the Ember is the tempo controller of Viking.
Oh, Flash.
And Flash wildly TPing to the shrine area after being shown mid.
Oh, it looked like he done that on purpose because the blink was coming to cooldown, right? And he doesn't know if Mastermind is still in trouble. And I guess Mastermind, like, you know, you probably heard Ember players in your games. They just scream this out. It's like, I have one Remnant left. I don't want to have to waste it here.
I don't want to waste my Remnant. I need to be killing my TVs.
Die for me, please. It's a weird shout, but I think it's kind of a fair shout. Especially, you just find value in the fact that Winstrike used the egg as well. That bone. Maybe about to get boned. Kulich. Ready to go. They have vision.
He has 3 leaps though. Last one.
Count
and done.
Ooh. Oh no, there's the reveal. This rocket barrage is just completely and utterly vicious.
Yeah, it's really does rip through the squishy heroes.
Rip through anyone in this game, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, any agi int hero, you are feeling the pain from barrage.
I say even Mastermind usually like, no, I got Flame Guard to give me that effective HP, but that's not the way you build Ember anymore. In fact, Flame Guard usually doesn't get touched. Often than not, anyway. Those are the days.
I do love the games where Ember doesn't have any counters to the Flame Guard. Just press it and you're like, oh, no one's gonna break this. I just got me a free Ratty.
Yep, or you get lanes like against the Storm Spirit, you're like, okay, I can force his magical damage and then just Flame Guard, and you have no way of breaking it.
That's true.
Well, he's gone pretty deep. He doesn't have an egg, but the call from Kulich will set up on the Rajix, who does have the RP, but there's no way he uses the hit.
Arrow.
Trying for a kill. Axe is still pretty tanky. They're looking on a Lil now. He sees he's super low, but he has to leap away. They're being overwhelmed by numbers alone, and as they move in, Mastermind does get the hit onto Lil. Nice little crit on the no fear. He has got his ultimate though. Wants to try the Chain Frost. Will bounce around. Doesn't really do any big impact on the Viking though. We'll just end up on the Ancients. They're chasing.
It's just a really sloppy engagement by Winstrike. They just needed to play behind the tower, let the TB hit, and then take the fight if Viking come to them.
Flash really does love dying for kind of, you know, mediocre details.
And it's true.
Got the arcane though, you know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It does happen. But yeah, I'd like to see Winstrike be a little bit more disciplined coming towards this tower. Letting the Ember waste a Remnant to connect to the TB, then have the Axe reinitiate. Like, I understand that they got onto the Magnus, but it's like, look how far you were going to get the Magnus. You're diving behind the tower, into high ground, next to a shrine. Like, when you say all these things together, it just doesn't sound like it's a clean kill.
Especially when you know the Rajix, you know, it doesn't have this blink initiation or 4-star, right? Yeah, you can skewer in, but it's not an imminent threat like an Axe who can blink and be that mobile.
Yeah. And now the team just want to farm up, wait for his next meta. They're going to keep defending mid, just pushing out the lane. And you can just see, like, as soon as Viking kind of end this engagement, they're just spreading the map, trying to get their farm, but still staying close enough where if they want to take a fight or objective, they can.
More importantly, keep this tower up as long as possible. 160 HP left of the tier 1, but you try and avoid denying this. If it can buy you another minute, that's good. Nice D-ward from Lil.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Mastermind desperately looking for anything, especially when he's got this maxed out in power on him. He might get it. Moving on to Lil. They force out the egg, and that's an instant retreat, but flash.
Flash.
Every time he's gone in a flash, there's nothing he can do. Gives his life for the cause. Bones looking for... I'm not actually... I'd love to know what Bones' plan is here. I mean, cut the wave, yeah? Luckily for you, Winstrike are looking for something more valuable.
They can just backdoor this tower. They know that there's no Bane alive. They don't have this grip. They don't have anything. They can just backdoor it right now.
They'll do it. Mastermind realizes it, roots them up, but he has to get out. He knows if the TV's here, the axe is nearby. His kryptonite right now.
The saving grace of this move is the PA is still just farming in the meantime, and especially because you have the Magnus, you don't need to buy these for example, like the battle fury and these earlier these greedy items. Sorry, so you can just go straight for the Deso, straight for the BKB, and then just play off of that timing.
Hope your Magnus doesn't die before the fight starts. And to ensure that's not likely to happen, you can already see he is getting very close to having that pipe complete now. There is concern that physical damage takes over very quickly for Winstrike at this rate, though, especially with the TB being so damn well farmed.
Yeah, there'll be a big power spike for Winstrike because Gyro will get his BKB before the PA. So not this meta, but the next meta will be a key timing for Winstrike to really force an objective. Oh,
big kill found.
Ember's top. Nice, cool.
A little bit too greedy. They had the Sinister Gaze follow up to ensure that he did die.
Yeah, that's just the power of the axe into Ember. If you do get the blink call onto him, especially when you have the blade melt and his flame guards running, you are going to be killing him. So yeah, like I said, the next like 2 minutes will be a very slow kind of farm. But then as soon as the meta's up, it's going to be the most aggressive phase for Winstrike. And an axe going on PA.
Chappie's like, don't crit, don't crit, don't crit, don't crit. Luckily he didn't. One would have probably done it and killed him.
Everyone's TPing top.
But not too bad. You don't lose your PA and all of Winstrike comes up here. Although I say not too bad. The hack off that triangle again. Never stop.
This is perfect for Winstrike. If they can force movement around the map whilst there's no meta, it means that they're just kind of delaying the point in which they are strong. Like the Gyro, he's like 500 gold away from his BKB. They need him to get that BKB before the next meta. If they miss their timing of meta and BKB, then they're not gonna really utilize their lineup.
At the moment, Viking playing a game of cat and mouse where they are more often than not just the mouse. They're still reluctant to fight. And you have to wonder what the big item is that's coming up. You know, you mentioned the BKB. That's the only one I really see anytime soon. Marana is going for her own BKB because Bonus decided this game.
It is the only item that they need in this game to really pressure them. They have the tower damage from the Terrorblade. They have the team fight from the Phoenix and potentially the Lich. They have the pick off onto the heroes with the axe. The axe naturally counters both of the cores of PA Ember. You think about a mag lineup. The mag he enables physical damage. Axe he loves playing against physical damage cores. So Winstrike does have the answers. It's just can they play off their timing and take the clean fights like they are now, running into a Bane. Oh, that was a Marana, sorry.
It's okay, Bane, Marana, they die more or less as much as each other at this point.
I just saw the icon on the map. I was like, isn't purple Bane? Bane's purple colored, right? Whoopsie.
There is a logic here. Not sure how solid it is.
So yeah, now this is the scariest time for the Vikings to play this game. They have everything they need. They've got level 2 egg. They've got their BKB up. There's their meta up. They've got, Blink Blade Mount. This is... Chappie needs to really pull out a BKB from nowhere. He's got like 700 more gold, maybe? No, math. 500 more gold.
Okay, we don't bring you in for your math. Bring you in
technically have a degree in one of those subjects, but oh well.
People wouldn't believe me when I said I'm a programmer, especially when they hear my math skills. But here you go. Meta goes out. The hack. Now they have choices here. You either go for the tier 2 or you could even go for Roche. The problem is, if you go for Roche, there's always that risk of Rajiks without RP.
Just keep on pushing, boys.
Don't stop.
You're not scared of anything. You get high ground vision. Yep, perfect.
And the
You
army
want to force the fight. This is how teams win games. You force an objective hard, you force rotation, you force a bad fight when you're in your timing, and you slay them.
And they see Flash. The Midnight Shadow won't save him. They in a lot of trouble, and in fact, very dead. Nightmare waste their time a little bit. Chappie going in for the target, no fear, is the target. In fact, it's escaped by the time back comes out. Maybe BKB. There's the RP as well. Looking at Okusti, can get out in time. The call was there first. Rajik's moving across. Wants to hit up the hack with this. Lil just burning him though. Rajik's confused about what he can do. The Fiend script does come out, and TB needs to die very fast here. Moves in. RP follow up. It's going to be enough to bring down the TB. And Viking, with just a measly Bane buyback, they turn it around. They wipe the entirety of Winstrike. And all of a sudden, Viking get a much-needed breath of life. And a roast to go with it.
That was really good from Viking. Winstrike, they used a lot of to get onto the Bane. And then you saw during that fight, the vision that Winstrike had, it was dewarded. Viking then got the ward out as well onto their shrine area, meaning that they could decide where they wanted to fight. The egg from Phoenix was a little bit too far back. It didn't stun the PA or even like the Ember, who the Axe had called into the Ancients. So in terms of sloppiness, Winstrike weren't really utilizing their spells, which means when Vikings line up, they don't have a lot of big spells to hit. They just need to take these like skirmishes. So it played into Vikings' favor, and they got the team wipe.
And it's like, I'm going to give a lot of credit, especially Rajik's, with more or less the composure there, right? Like, a lot of people would have blown that RP straight on the TB, but he realized, actually, the threat of me RPing is going to do ridiculous things to the formation right now, and he just kept running at them.
Yeah, and he is tanky enough to deal with like kind of the onset damage from the gyro. And you saw as well when the gyro used BKB, he just had to run away because PA also had his BKB.
Oh, going on Chappie, trying to get rid of the Aegis quickly, but the Yules to make sure he doesn't kill himself. They'll back off. Here in chains will
really
keep
good
that in place.
itemization. Ember.
Dire's middle tower has been
It's like you want to play into your timings, right? So I've spoke a lot about like the gyro BKB playing into the TV as well. But then you think about the PA just got his BKB as well in that fight, and the Ember bought Yules as well. He didn't go greedy because he knows his PA will be able to kill all heroes on the map if he doesn't get blink called. So because the Axe doesn't have the BKB, Ember just buys the Yules, and now he can mitigate the initiation and the primary lockdown from Winstrike.
That's true. Like, you have to reach a point where in this type of game, we mentioned the draft, they identify themselves the draft, the PA is the win condition. And it's tempting sometimes when you remember, like, especially with Magnus, you go, oh, I can do a lot of damage. I can be really formidable. But you have to sometimes accept that you aren't the win condition at all. You're not the one who's going to obliterate the enemy team. PA is this type of hero, similar to Void, right? Where it's like, eventually, this hero is just going to 1v5 for us.
Yeah,
we just need to enable.
PA can scale pretty well.
Should make my life easier.
Right now, he's at like the scary point of like one of the bigger power spikes. When you have the Deso power and a BKB, you blow up a gyro. Like gyro doesn't really buy. He does buy butterfly, but like the time to get there, it takes a long time. So especially like you're stronger during the first 20 minutes of the game. Between 20 and 35, the PA does then take over in terms of strength.
I feel it will be a casualty of war, but I think you're right. Like, the other interesting thing about the gyro and PA matchup is the gyro, you know, you're very reliant on this magical damage early on, right? But then you have to get yourself to a stage where you're physical based, and that actually means you're playing into a PA's hands, right? Because when PA's hitting her power spikes around the death of the BKB, you're still trying to build up your physical damage, and she naturally has all that evasion.
Yeah, I think actually a point I think was also good to make actually is, even though the PA is kind of strong right now, if the Axe, let's check, yeah, if the Axe can farm his BKB, then Winstrike can match the timing of Viking. Because I think right now that is the issue. It's like if he jumps in and gets used, he can't do anything, right? He's wasted initiation, so he needs to get that BKB to be able to take a clean fight.
At that stage, it becomes kind of a watch fest of who jumps first, right? Like, whoever jumps first should have an inherent advantage, because the Bane, if he finds the Axe, you're done. If the Axe finds any of the cores, there's no way to stop him. Because even with the Fiend's Grip, you've already called. We'll see what can happen, because the smoke movement now, Viking, they do have the RP available again. They can get rid of the hack. They can go wherever they want. Oh, the arrow! He just about saw it. The illusion to get a glimpse of it, and that is crucial because he does not have buyback.
But you can see Winstrike, they're really trying to prioritize his Axe, getting his BKB. He's just farming the other jungle, knowing that Vikings shouldn't have any vision there, knowing that they play top and that they want to play on the other side of the map.
Viking, there might have been an opportunity, but you know what? They've seen enough games, they've
Axe.
caused enough games, and oh no.
Get out.
This is not the place. The first
bash.
Oh no. RNG favors the bold, and Chappie, he knows all about that RNG. Is that big crit with the bash as well, ensuring there's no chance he kills himself after a call.
Do you think that? I feel like that was just an A click to go to Net's camp, by the way.
Oh,
I'm just gonna put that. That is the power of the A click, guys. You should never right click your way to a camp. If you're farming your own jungle, if you're going anywhere, just A click your way there. Just because you can first hit bash.
Just queue it as well, you know. Just queue it place to place, because you never know when someone's going to be around a corner.
This will do just fine.
True. What a beautiful thing.
It is quite nice. I remember when I shifted doing that as well.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Axe.
It will be up in 5 seconds, but he's further away from that BKB now. And one tower less to protect his side of the map. Chappie takes another. The other side, the hack, just playing a game of dodge. You know, he did go for the Scardy build into the butterfly next, so at least he'll have the evasion. But right now, I mean, PA is in a state of just pure murder. She only needs to eliminate the TB to remove the damage from Winstrike altogether, as Gyro is not ready.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Yeah, you can see, I think the vision right now, it's crucial that Winstrike can make a move, can smoke up and actually get into a pocket of the map that they can control, and then get the jumps. Because right now you can see how they're kind of portioned to this corner of the map, and you know, when you're in this part of the map, it's never good for you.
And you actually already see the lines of the pings coming up for flash. They want to check if someone's still hanging around up here, and even if they're not, they have vision down, they've de-warded everywhere. If you're going to push anywhere right now as Viking, it's top lane.
Yep, Axe has the BKB. So this net, like, the net worth is equal. So it's nothing to do about, like, who has the items now, who has this. It's literally who executes better in the team fight. Winstrike have everything they need to be able to take the fight. Viking as well. They got most of the items that, like, at this current time, they can to potentially get a team wipe. But I think Viking might overestimate themselves with the Axe having his BKB. This whole fight is all about the Axe.
I mean, it's even showing in the win probability, actually. Like, there was a huge bump back, and I wouldn't be surprised if part of that is around the Axe, because, you know, he just died recently, yet the chart went down towards Winstrike. It is a big pickup, you know. It's this type of item that we already mentioned is going to be pretty decisive. So the real question is, can they get Flash in a position to make sure it's never a problem? It's not like he's got a Glimmer Cape or an Aether Lens or a Blink Dagger of his own. He really kind of has to have his own team bring the Axe to him. Quite awkward.
Yeah, there's one good call onto this Ember or PA. It could decide the fight. And the TB is about to pick up Butterfly as well, so he's going to mitigate a lot of damage coming from the PA.
Meanwhile, Gyro almost...
Gyro picked up his Axe.
Yep. Axe complete, so now you can start getting his physical damage in. I say that, he's building a Maelstrom, but before it's there...
He needs to get Maelstrom, then Satanic, and then he's also another hero that can deal with the PA. So it's like, there are kind of windows in which Winstrike has power spikes and then drops down again. So the previous fight they just lost, they had a power spike, but it was countered by the fact that the PA picked up BKB and they had the yours. And now they're in another kind of window in which they could be strong. Then they're going to fall off again, potentially if they start being sloppy. And they're going to pick themselves up again into the late game when Gyro gets a couple more items. So.
And the importance around like this kind of power spike they're now getting is, you know, it's perfectly timed. Roche could spawn in a few seconds. They need to make sure that Viking don't get their hands on that, because Viking, the later this goes, the rougher it gets them, because they are this one core lineup, whereas Winstrike are very clearly a 2-core lineup when it comes to the physical damage
it
late game.
Depends on the PA and how he can approach this.
Rajik's like, nope, we want someone else. So turn around now. Now the Abyssal coming out. The BKB activated as well. The RP feeds every field of the TB kill. They need to get him. The call coming in. And the Sunray just healing him up on the backline. Lil, they'll finally get the kill, but they had to work hard for it. The egg does go down now. I don't know if this is going to be enough. Despite Lil's best efforts, the best intentions, his team will be obliterated. Mastermind sidesteps the damage. Kuma's BKB running out. This was their big power spike, and it completely and utterly backfires.
Again, it's all about execution. I said if they can't execute in the fights, this next fight is all about execution. And you can see the Viking, the TB is just standing in the middle of the low ground. They got vision on the high ground below them. He gets jumped. He gets enfeebled, which means the grip is lasting like an eternity until the Viking attend Hamburg, this grip's ending. Like,
attack.
woo! Alright, yeah.
Viking have been absolutely methodical. They've done a fantastic job for his squad.
Yeah.
And, like, once again, I just want to like highlight the discipline shown there, right? You saw it. They completely scouted around the TB. They're like, hold on. If you're showing TB, you must have everyone right behind him. And they saw the giant gap.
It was the mag just going in. Like, sure, you can, like the mag blinking in aggressively. Sure, he doesn't like hit anything with like he doesn't go, oh wait, I got 4-man RP there. But it's more like, oh, I'm here now. I can be like this kind of unit, and it forces the rest of Winstrike to want to play onto the high ground away from the TB, knowing that if they walk down into low ground, they're gonna get RP'd by the Magnus. So he's kind of acting as like a mini buffer. But still, it's all about positioning and how you want to approach the fight. Winstrike, they rushed it. They walked in. Like I said, they have this high ground control. They need to send a different hero into this position. But who can they send? Lich will instantly die. They can't send their Phoenix or Axe. It's like they need to like potentially send in their Gyro or better than that. They just shouldn't be there. They should just hold the high ground and get the jump.
Yeah, where they have vision control as well.
But so good, very good again from Viking. It's just you expect better from Winstrike.
You do. We mentioned like they were looking pretty good yesterday, and also there's a lot of pedigree on this team. But Viking, we said these guys, they have been more or less flawless. Like there's been some small slip ups, but the beautiful thing I actually have to give credit, and we saw it again like throughout this qualifier from Viking, is every time that they get jumped or it seems like they've made a mistake, they recalibrate, right? They change their approach very quickly mid-fight, and it works. That's kind of been the name of the game for most of this qualifier so far, is who makes the least mistakes. I mean, Dota in a large compass nowadays.
In a nutshell, that's how it works. Because, yeah, like, this game isn't about, like, who's drafted better. This game isn't about who's got the big gold lead. It's simply about where you take your fights and how you execute them. They've got past the point in which your draft can help you, or your like laning phase dominance can help. The game was so even. It was simply about who's more disciplined. And again, Winstrike aren't right now.
And it's also like
they're doing like another like, okay, so this is now the kind of not the Hail Mary smoke, but the okay, we know that last fight wasn't a fight because of us. So if we take this next fight, we might be able to just clear them out. So they're gonna force the Roshan, force them into potentially a choke point.
Though. Yeah.
But I think it's still good. It's still very good, potentially.
They have to. And there's the jump. Onto the Mirana, though, which means Rajix could follow up. And they don't have buyback on the Mirana is the problem here. So this might work out for Winstrike. He needs to get
out of vision. He needs to get out of vision and be able to then get a good call off.
They're waiting for it. Counting out. Slowing them down a little bit. Roche is extremely low. It's now or never, but the cooldown's there. Now we'll reveal what's going on. The skewer back. RP as well. Look at the target on the Terrorblade, trying to get him quick enough here with the Fiend Script. Long range, no one's
such a defensive egg.
God! And the egg is indeed way too defensive. Kuma goes deep, but they have to turn around now. They might find Rajix, but now, how do you do with Chappie? Moves in, first hit back, Axe. Maybe see you later. Rush to keep him up. The burn's going to stop. Lil has to just dive away. He comes back in for one more throw out with the Spirit, but the crits go out once more. They'll find a kill and no fear. Turn around the Nightmare already. Keeping Jar out the fight. They'll clean up Lil. Roche enabling them as well. The triple kill is there. The cleanup, they do get a kill in the Bane, but now Kuman has to run. The buyback from Lich will not enable him. This is all to try and keep Kuman alive, because if he dies here, it's all over. They move in. They will back out in time. They'll turn around. They say, wait, we've still got a PA. We've still got a Ember. And Roche is extremely low. Thanks for the freebie, Winstrike.
Yeah, these fights are so sloppy by Winstrike. You see how their lineup, it's like they don't have innate saves. They don't have this Phoenix with an Axe. They have to rely on this Axe. And then the Axe, sure, he gets out of vision and plays on the top side of Roshan, but he plays so far to the top that TB, when he gets RP and skewered down, he's like a whole 2 blinks distance away from the fight, which means he has to spend about 3 to 4 seconds running around Roshan pit to then get the blink, which is way too late. So again, I think the crucial flaw in Winstrike's ability to take this game is their positioning and approach to team fights.
No, that's a fair assessment. And like, Lil is forced in a scenario where the egg is bad, because I think, if anything, you have to run close and you're like, oh, I don't want my egg to die. But if you just buy 1 second for the hat so you can actually get a Sunder target, you may be looking at a completely different fight.
No, exactly that. It's all about playing for those small, intricate players, and it's so much pressure on Axe's shoulders right now.
And he's beginning to bulk. Starting to show as he buckles, and, well, Viking, they're going to be respectful here. They're like, okay, no, they're on the high ground. We know they are. Regroup. Take your time with this. You've got a long time left on this Aegis. Board control is likely on Winstrike's side as they realize. Atos, Chappy, not really the optimal
And now he's
target.
got the MKB on Pierre as well.
He's ready to party. The arrow just misses Lil, but he does have the egg. Will he get a chance to do the abyssal? No crits coming out. The disarm's there. The egg is going to be there as well. Mastermind trying to get into BKB. Both the cores going for this. It's going to be close, but it looks like it should go public. Yes! But they'll skewer in. Chain Frost bouncing around. Can they do enough? The RP's finally there from Rajit, and now they can clean up. Lil trying to heal them up, but the crits is too big. TV is down. Ulrich trying to run away. The Aegis has been expended. Ember gets one slide fist out. Needs to cheese just in time. Moves in for the kill, and Lil will be able to find it. Searing Chain's fault gets the glitch as well. Kuman has to do a lot here because no one is left to enable him. No Fury is dead. He already bought back previously. Kuman has to get the kill on the Ember if he has any chance, but the crits are there. The triple kill as well. As Viking wipe the side of Winstrike. They can go wherever they want. There's a tier 2 here that'll enable them to go into the base. This might just be the end.
I think Chappy might be attending a LAN in 2019. 07 might be attending a LAN 2019.
It's looking fantastic, you know, all in all, for all these players. I mean, Mastermind has been lurking in the woodworks for a long time. Rajix as well.
Right.
Flash, all of them. You know, Flash looked like he might have an
Let's
opportunity.
not curse it though. Hold up.
There are
Let's not
buybacks.
jinx it.
There's an opportunity. They need to
It's
go.
probably over, but let's not be, you know.
Oh, they're very reluctant. Look at Viking right now. You know, they're respecting them. Not that healthy. And there's not a big window of opportunity here. Metamorphosis is on cooldown when TB is up, though, which is why Chappy will hang around regardless. But he's the only one hitting the buildings. And now with a Solar Crest, he'll hit them quite fast. In fact, he goes Scuba. Oh no! Straight away with the crit. Trying to go with the cool. The BK's reacting on both sides, and the crits aren't there onto the axe, so the Blade Mail won't take its effect. The big back. The crit is off with the Beast Grip as well as he's done and dusted. Winstrike. Without the axe for 90 seconds, how do you hold this? And the answer is likely you don't. Second lane will go down. Will Viking back off is the real question. They might respect it. They say there's no rush. 18k up, full dominance. And it's not just the gold at this stage. Look at the XP chart. They are just snowballing out of control. They have 2 heroes at level 25. And well, that triple dagger from Chappy, everyone is friend. And Chappy he's spoiled for choices. Who does he go on? Whoever he wants. This is the final hold. This is your final opportunity. You have maybe bought enough time. 20 seconds till Metamorphosis. You have to make sure Chappy doesn't obliterate your buildings before that is off cooldown. Patience being shown. Axe still gone for 40 seconds. But in 40 seconds time, you'll be facing mega creeps. Mastermind bluffs the opportunity. Cooldown comes in, slows down a little bit. Chappy trying to get rid of the illusions. Atos on the Rajix. Does still have the RP. Has the blink in 1 second. He'll skewer out though. They're being respectful here. They say, nope. We need to be careful. Axe up in 25 seconds. And I wonder why T was so quiet. His Discord has died. Let's phone him up. All right. We seem to have a T governor back and ready.
Right, wonderful. Go.
You have to. They've backed away. They've calmed down.
Nice, yeah. Like, they shouldn't be too pressured to feel like they need to end the game right now. They're in the driving seat. They can take the shrine. They could easily have taken bot shrine after they disengaged, but they wanted to stay close to the base just in case someone came out and they could make that jump and just close it out. So they are just playing very methodical. They don't ever really need to go back to this bot lane, so they're just going to go top, get a little bit of vision out, and just going to take one more clean team fight and just probably close out the game at this point. I'm skeptical in seeing how Winstrike can take this fight. You saw when Axe got that call in that previous engagement onto the PA, he done no damage. The PA is way too farm now, and the Axe counter, it just isn't there anymore.
Yeah, his pass back is gone. Long gone, in fact. Nah, it's the Chappy show. Whatever he wants, whatever he does. The hat. This feels like he's a whole item and a half behind. Oh, no. He came out into the arrow. They're going to skewer away from his team, trying to get the Sunray out. Now the RP as well. Everything wants to get on the TV. The Beast Grip follow up. Nothing interrupts him. They'll get the kill. Buyback comes out. Beast trying to do something. Chain Frost bounces around. Magnus might die, but that's not good enough. The egg is definitely going to go down. Gyro is dead. And it's finally looking like the final nail in the coffin as they'll turn around and wipe the man who had to carry so much this game with his shoulders. Unable to do it anymore as Viking take the grand final 3-0.
They've done it
in dominant fashion, not dropping a single game through the entire qualifier.
And you got to give it to them. I think Viking, the way that they drafted was pretty good. I think this game they had a very clean idea on what they wanted to do. I think Winstrike, the execution was again, it was just, they didn't perform today, and overall, yeah, I think Viking played pretty well. It's impressive. I'd like to see how well they do it. Obviously, ESL. This is again, the teams in this tournament aren't obviously the teams that'll be like the same level of team they're playing at Hamburg. So I hope to see them obviously improve between now and Hamburg, and hopefully have a good shine.
Yeah, it should be interesting to watch. You know, you got some former high tier 1 players in there, Bone7 being the primary. Chappie had some breakout opportunities that looked promising.
Yeah.
Mastermind and Regis, they've been around for a few years now. Mastermind especially. You know what I love most is actually like the highlight Mastermind is you think you must have watched him and play with him like 2-3 years ago. He was very much this kind of typical mid where it's like you want to be able to be flashy, you want to be able to show how great you can be. But we saw in this game especially a prime example of how he's willing to kind of like step back and go, this game isn't about me, it's about this player instead.
Well, I think that this is what this team is showing. You can see throughout their drafts, like Chappie's playing, like for example, like the Mipos, these Lycans, he's able to like, he's like their kind of their win condition, and Mastermind is just like, all right, I'm gonna play this Necro, I'm gonna play this Ember. Like, sure, like he's able to play a good solid game. He's able to do what he needs to do for the team, but like like he's not having to play these like carry mid heroes or whatever. Like he's just playing conventional mid. He's just doing his part for his carry. So I think Viking has a very nice play style, and yeah, it all comes down to making sure that their drafts are at this high level. Make sure that their execution is good and continues to improve. Because again, like they beat these good teams now, but when they get to ESL, they're going to be playing against a whole nother caliber of team. So they can't just accept that they're going to get to Hamburg. They need to really knuckle down now and put in the time to make sure that they have a good showing. Like again, like I said, it's very impressive what they've done.
Definitely. I mean, this is just step one, as you say. And, you know, the good thing is they've got people like Bone there who are very experienced. They kind of, you know, the worry of this team maybe cracking under pressure. Different players in this lineup have experience on main stage. Also, you know, they've had experience in DPC events. They've had experience in more high-profile events. There's not that concern. And the way they've meshed here is definitely promising.
Yeah, they do have the potential to be a good team. So I'd like to see how they do in the future.
Just have to see if that discipline holds that we've seen throughout this qualifier. But that does bring us to a close for the EU coverage. That's right, Viking go to ESL Hamburg 2019 late in October, not dropping a single game in this qualifier. Some would say, you know, it wasn't the most formidable qualifier. We didn't have the big secrets of the world, but nonetheless, we had some very skilled players. And now the challenge is whether Viking can actually show up at the main event and break past that group stage. What do you think is a realistic, like, look, right, T? Like, you've been in that scenario because every team wants to win, right? But you kind of understand that teams are more powerful than you. If you're Viking right now, what is, like, a placement at ESL that you're happy with and say, we have a lot of potential, let's stick together?
It's all about having like realistic expectations. So for a team like this, they've qualified to ESL. That's really good for them. That's their equivalent of like qualifying to TI, right? It's like we've actually made it to an event. Like again, like the tier 2 scene, tier 3 scene, this same bracket of tier. It's like you don't often get to these like LAN events, right? You're always playing online. You get into the qualifiers, and because obviously it's Europe, you often get kind of beat down by like the big 4-5 teams that are in Europe. So the fact they got to this event is like for them that should be like, okay, great. Now we're making our mark, right? We could potentially continue to go further. So for them, there shouldn't be any like, oh, okay, we're happy just to get here, or every team should have the expectation of we want to win, right? So there should be no acceptance of, oh, okay, I'm happy to be like top 12, or I'm happy to be like top 8, whatever. They should be driven to succeed and driven to go further, because these guys believe in themselves, right? They've just won this qualifier. They shouldn't be happy with anything less than what they can do at the event. So I think for them, push for top 3, push for what they think they can achieve. Again, it's of course I don't know. It's better to be optimistic with a little bit of realism. So, but they should push for what they believe in.
That way, look at it, a blessing, and more importantly, an opportunity to maybe shine and show that tier 2 can compete with tier 1. But that's speculation. That's something we'll have to find out in a little bit under a month's time, when they will fly out to Hamburg to compete with some of the best teams in Dota. But that brings us to a close. I am done here, as is T. Thank you for hopping in, T. It's been a pleasure casting the last few days, and we've, I know some of the games had you ripping your hair out. We felt it in the way you had to describe their moves, but some promising Dota to observe here, and a good time nonetheless.
For sure. Exactly that. It will be exciting the next month or so.
All right, guys, we're going to bring it to a wrap. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
To be brilliant is to defy convention and challenge expectations. So Intel will bring the processing power for when it's time to go. Brilliant. Frame rates that keep up with your reflexes. Brilliant. Fast clock speeds for when you're on the clock. Brilliant. It's what we do at Intel, powering you to master your potential. Will you rise? Intel. Unleash your brilliance.
Remember where it started. Your first experiences. The journey you traveled. The journey you love. Remember where it started. And imagine where it will go. Rise on.
It's grand final time. Watch it live. The Vodafone 5G ESL Mobile Open. Tune in on the 28th and 29th of September.
So this is it. This is where it all started. The great business of DHL.
Do you remember when we still use these?
We have all come a long way since then.
Hey, Effie, my little buddy. I got a special job for you. And this is only the beginning.
Life is made up by special moments that touch us. A touch of genius, an inspirational touch, and a touch of magic. Some touches are simply unique. Euronics, a human touch in a digital world.